So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Fellini, I'm a Born Liar, 2002. This is going to be another boring interview with European art house director. It's about as exciting as listening to Ingmar Bergman being interviewed by some pointed head pseudo intellectual from Europe. Fellini takes the subjectivist view of aesthetics, and he says a bunch of other nonsense. Although, ironically, he's probably telling the truth when he says that movies like Amarcord are just imaginary places that didn't really exist during his younger years. And for whatever reason, people thought it was a reflection of his early years growing up in fascist Italy. Um, so there's that, and then then we hear a lot of stupid nonsense from Donald Sutherland. I didn't like him in FTA, although he was good in Hunger Games. And he's a typical left-wing actor, not from Hollywood, weird, but from Canada. And he says some nonsense about, oh, Fellini is terrible. He's like a child yelling at the actors. And then he contradicts himself and says, but he's comparable to Orson Welles in the sense that he's able to fabricate believable lies such as Amarcord and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of Orson Welles, so I can't really relate to what Donald Sutherland is talking about. I think he just assumes that everybody loves Orson Welles as much as they love Fellini, which is probably the case for most followers of this kind of cinema, but not I. I'm not into Orson Welles. I'm not into Fellini. He's about as good as Ingmar Bergman, I suppose. He's got some gems amongst his early black and white films, some hidden gems. And his later stuff, the stuff that is in this movie, like 8½, Juliet of the Spirits, other movies with Donald Sutherland and Terence Stamp, which I've never seen. Those movies don't particularly interest me, although I haven't seen the Donald Sutherland movie. I forget what it's called. I forget. And then there's Terence Stamp. He was pretty funny, I have to admit, though. He's trying to imitate Fellini's broken English, ordering him to do an orgy scene. That was pretty hilarious. And then and the rest is just, like I said, clips of Fellini's more famous movies, the ones that I don't like, and some clips of movies that I've never seen. Terence Stamp, Donald Sutherland, and a bunch of Fellini interviews where he just talks about how he's such a great artist. He compares himself to Picasso. he says that he has dreams of talking to Picasso, and he thinks he's using shadows and light to create this magnificent art. I thought that was the cinematographer's job, but I guess Fellini fancies himself as a cinematographer also, um, which may or may not be true. I don't know, but yeah, pretty lame flick. I'm not into these documentaries about European art house directors. Even the on all the Pasolini discs, it's got a little blurb about Pasolini, which I don't particularly care for. And yeah, I got Fred and Ginger, which is another Fellini flick. And then I got a bunch of Godard crap that I'm going to just absolutely hate. And I'm going to post hate reviews on Godard very soon, which probably won't interest too many viewers because not too many people pay attention to Godard these days. But if you do, you're probably a fan of this communist director from France. He's part Francais and part Swede, and he embraces Chairman Mao, which is hard to imagine considering that Mao murdered possibly 100 million of his own people. My ex-wife told me that he used to hang people on the village, in the middle of the village square, just so that he could show everybody who's boss. And this wasn't just one village, it was every village. So nice guy. It's funny how these people overlook the terrible atrocities of communism in favor of income equality or whatever they're trying to achieve. I don't know. But I guess in all fairness to Godard, he kind of mellowed out after the late 60s, which is not saying much for him. But yeah, I'll get to him later. Right now, I'm just going to get through this Fred and Ginger movie in 1986. Probably not going to like it. Oh, it's Ginger and Fred, excuse me. 2 hours and 7 minutes. Oh, by the way, this disc is rated R. It's got some nudity where Donald Sutherland talks about how Fellini made him lick this gal's nipple, and you actually see it in one of the movie clips. So that's probably why this gets an R rating, coupled with the fact that Terence Stamp is using the F-bomb in this one. And he mentioned something about Fellini dropping acid, and he felt like he was going through some doors or something, like some kind of weird dark shadows, kind of psychedelic stuff. And yeah, that's about it. That's about all I have to say about this movie. I mean, Fellini thinks he knows everything about film. He's the great artist, like I said, much like Ingmar Bergman conceit whenever he gets interviewed. I think the last disc I saw about the making of Fanny and Alexander, Ingmar Bergman said he wanted to retire while he had a good string of movies going, and that way he wouldn't sort of fizzle out like Fellini, I guess, or Godard. But I guess he succeeded in a certain respect. The interviewer compared him to Rocky Marciano, who had 50 straight knockouts, and he retired. But I don't think his movies towards the end were that great. Certainly, the last thing that he did, the movie with Liv Ullmann and Erland Josephson or whatever his name is, that was terrible. It wasn't a movie; it was more like a television movie, but it wasn't a feature film per se. But it was still pretty awful. I gave it 1 out of 5 stars. I hated that flick. And Fanny and Alexander was an okay flick. I think it was overrated. Um, I give it 6 out of 10 stars. It's closer to 7 on IMDb, but it's not a. I don't think it deserved all those Oscars. Honestly, I don't know. I don't really follow the Oscars. I like the Razzies better. Anyways, um, yeah, I got my certificate for my 500 shares of the company options, so that was pretty exciting. Um, and I got about 100 more coming my way. Um, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully by December something good will happen with that. And I got this weird class action settlement check for $300 yesterday. Just came out of nowhere. I was like, yeah, I can buy my son some books. And anyways, I'm getting like 5 pay things this week, so pretty stoked. I should be able to book my hotel for the Christmas holiday with my son, and then not sure what's going on with my rent. My landlord wants me to leave by September 5th, and I'm not leaving, so she's going to have to take me to court, and that's going to take another month. So I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pay the rent, but I guess I'll give her a check and see what happens. And that's about it. Hopefully I can start saving money next month and get back on track. And by December, I should be in good financial shape in more ways than one. Still can't find a girlfriend on Tinder or Snapchat or both. And yeah, so that's kind of a dead end. It's been like that for 5 years, though, so can't really expect much. And just charging my phone here, munching on some sour punch candies, and yeah, I'll get to the Ginger and Fred pretty soon, probably like Saturday morning. So yeah, so I'm done with Cult Movies 5 playlist. I'll start a Cult Movies 6 playlist for you, and that's the end of my review. Laters.